Good evening. I'll just walk you through some of the problems from your homework assignment. This is from the practice test number 586. Page 586, practice test for trigonometry. And we'll take a look at number 11. So for number 11, it's talking about a point A, 3 pi over 2, negative 2, is on the graph y equals k sine x minus pi over 3. So what I would do is just take this as my x and y coordinate and just plug in negative 2 for y. And 3 pi over 2 for x. And then all I have to do is solve for k. Just load up my calculator here. There it is. So make sure I'm in radian mode. Good. So sine 3 pi over 2 minus pi over 3 is negative 0.5. So negative 2 equals k times negative 0.5. So if I divide both sides by negative 0.5, then I get k is equal to 4. Okay, question number 15. This is from page 587. It says a fan blade has a diameter of 32 centimeters. The blade is rotated 532 degrees around its center, then a point on the tip of the blade would travel how far? So we've got a picture here. The fan is across the center, 32 centimeters. And if I draw that in standard position, it's saying that if I take a point on the tip and rotate it around 532 degrees, so that would be, it's going around in a circle, so that would be 360 degrees, then another 450, 540, 532. That's right about here. And the question is, how far is that distance? So we can use the A equals R theta equation, because this is the arc length, even though it's more than one circle. So to find the arc length, you take the radius, which is half of the diameter, 16 centimeters, times the angle in radians. Now the total angle is 532 degrees. So to change that to radians, I'll just times it by pi over 180. So 532 times pi over 180 is 9.28 radians. So 9.28 times 16 is 148.5 centimeters. So you didn't need to model that with a sine or a cosine graph. That's just comes from section number 1. And question number 18. There it is. Says the function f of theta equals tan theta is stretched horizontally by a factor of 1/2 around the y-axis. So that's really meaning it's compressed. The asymptotes of the graph of the transform function can be described by which of the following? So all I know is that tan theta is the same as sine theta over cos theta. And this has asymptotes whenever the function is undefined. So that's whenever it's equal to something divided by 0. So if the cosine equals 0, then tangent's going to have an asymptote. So when cosine equals 0, tan has an asymptote. So when does cosine equal 0? Well, cosine is x over r. So that'll be 0 when x is 0. On the unit circle, x is 0 at 90 degrees and 270 degrees. So the angle would be, in radians, pi over 2, or 3 pi over 2. Every 90 degrees is the same as pi over 2. So now if I take those asymptotes and compress them by a factor of 1/2, that just means I'm going to take them and make them half as big. So I'll take my answer divided by 2, and this one divided by 2. So pi over 2 divided by 2 is the same as pi over 4. 3 pi over 2 divided by 2 is the same as 3 pi over 4. Okay, so now I need to express this in a general form. So what I can do is I can take my original answer and add the period n times. Take my original answer and add the period n times. So I need to find out what's the period. Well, tangent has a normal period of pi. Okay, it repeats itself double as often as sine and cosine do. And that's because all students take calculus. Tangent goes positive, negative, positive, negative. So after going through pi, the pattern repeats, positive, negative, and then positive, negative. So if I compress it by 1/2, the period would also get compressed by 1/2 and become pi over 2. So I'm going to take the period and I'll write pi over 2. So I compress the period by 1/2. So the shortest way to write this is just with the top line. Because actually if I take the top line and add pi over 2, I actually get down to the second line. When n is 1, pi over 2 plus 3 pi over 2, 4, or sorry, pi over 2 plus pi over 4 actually is 3 pi over 4. So then the answer would be D. And the last one is numerical response number 3. And that one comes from page 586. And it says that if tangent x equals negative 2/5 and x is between pi and 2 pi. So when it says that, it just is telling you about the quadrant. So that means the angle is from pi to 2 pi. The angle is either in quadrant 3 or quadrant 4. anywhere between pi and 2 pi. Then what is x? Well, the easy way to solve this, and then we know it's in radians because it's talking about pi, so just make sure my calculator is in radian mode, is I actually want to move the tangent over to the other side and solve for x. I can use the inverse tangent function. So to move tangent from one side to the other, let's use inverse tangent negative 2 over 5. Inverse tangent negative 2 over 5. And that gives me one of the answers. X is negative 0.38. Probably that's going to be the only answer. Let me just verify that by graphing. Tan x and negative 2 over 5. I'll zoom trig. Ta-da! Calculate. Crossing point. I want to be in quadrant number 3 or 4, which is in this area. Is it? Over here. So 5.9. Which I believe is actually the same answer as negative 0.38. Let's check. Negative 0.38. If I add 1 full revolution, add 2 pi, I get 5.9. Yay! 5.9 it is. I hope that helps.